有蛮多人关心伴侣的关系嘛，但如果没有办法同时来的话，有没有办法透过自己独自来学，但是可以学到伴侣的那些业力模式和钥匙？
Okay, I would insist they concentrate on their own chart. And it's, it may sound, surely there's two people involved here. But what I found is when one person starts living more and more in alignment with their own life, it has a rippling effect to everybody around them. They don't go back into the low frequency all the time. They remember to keep the frequency level up. And sooner or later, the partner begins to realize, the kids begin to realize, mum or dad is living in a different frequency now. This is amazing. The basis of the karma clearing is we tend to live in reaction. As long as we live in reaction, there's no evolution. Something happens, we have the same reaction. So this is, it's partly meditation to remember, I always have this habit of doing the same thing. And instead of the habit, use the key. Use your own personal key, and all of a sudden, the energy changes. I say human design is right at the beginning. And Ra was a newspaper advertising salesman. He knew nothing about spirituality. He knew nothing about how to tell people about an esoteric system. His approach to human design was through physics. So in 1993, 94, 95, in the times when I visited for the trainings, we had two classes, basic and advanced. So basic was, the chart, the centers, the channels. Advanced was the gates and maybe relationship reading. That was it. So he needed to make money. So he goes home and thinks, let's do type, let's do authority, let's do profile. That was his approach to keep everybody coming back. I mean, he had such a difficult job putting a new system into the world. So he had his way of, this is how I am going to present human design. And up to a point, it works. If you're a generator, there's something sensible about waiting until you have a resonant frequency, until something matches. For projectors, there's something about moving in the right company, so people are interested to have you involved. And then profile. Profile is how the world sees you. It's all good stuff. So I was working with Shiva, and I was going 2-3 times a year to go and teach classes in Guangzhou or Guiyang. And I ran out of materials. And Shiva said, hey, can't you do something different, something new, invent something? So I thought, all right, I have great students. We have a great connection. I will experiment. So 1997, I meet Richard Rudd, and we become friends. And at the time, I was writing my book of lines. And I started writing notes for various hexagrams, and I would send my notes to Richard. And then one day he writes back and says, don't worry, I've worked it all out. He had a download, like a major download of the gene keys. And he's realized what's the key to make the shift from the low to the high. If agreements of the past or destiny of the past is not complete, then it's like dragging a big weight around with you in life. And you're trying to fulfill the new destiny for this lifetime, but you're dragging the old destiny with you, and it's not easy. So again, we look at the low-level frequency and just say, as long as you're in low-level frequency, nothing's going to change. And then we go looking for the keys. Every single person's human design chart has keys. So what are two areas in life that really affect people? Relationship and fulfilling destiny. So I started with relationship, and I looked into the unconscious side. There are things that are just baked into the genes. This destiny path, it may be personal, but very likely it also relates to our ancestors, our family, and whatever karma or complications, roadblocks have come. And honestly, in about 10 seconds, everybody was crying. I had no idea what was going on. People crying and crying, falling on their chair, on the floor, crying and crying. And I asked Bhavya, what's going on? And she says, all the ancestors have come into the room. All the feminine ancestors, all the mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, all the way had come in to support. It was an extraordinary experience. That showed me there's something magical here in the human design chart that nobody else has looked at. Let's just say it's a very powerful process.
这次老师有4个课程，人们是从学人类图进门，再学业力，还是说他先学业力也可以？
It depends. It depends on their level of intelligence.
Not just intelligence, but wisdom, self-awareness.
Well, yeah, Carol is saying not just intelligence, but also their wisdom.
A person can come to the karma clearing if they haven't had much information about human design. It's our preference that people learn human design and they understand their design, because then it's going to be so much easier to integrate the karma clearing. And we have had people in class who didn't study human design. They need a little bit of support, more than other people, but it is possible to come just directly to the karma clearing.